Okay, we're all set to go with our awesome gear and equipment, except for one thing. Our light warriors are still super weak. That's why we start grinding and leveling up right away in the forest around town. Fight goblins until you're about level 3, and then use the inn to heal your dudes. If you're on the NES or PS1 version, you also want to do this to save. And you might want to grind enough to make the money to buy a few sleeping bags, since this will also save the game. Anyway, Garland is on the other side of the map, so go there. Ignore this cave you pass, as there's nothing to do there yet, and go to the castle. You just go up and show Garland what pain feels like, but you should check out the upper and lower left corners of the castle to get some decent stuff at this point in the game. You should do this before fighting Garland, as after the battle, Sarah gives you a free ride back to Cornelia, and you'll have to come back to get this stuff otherwise. Be sure to equip the helmet you find on someone who needs a bit more defense. Ah, my poor little thief. And then approach Garland in the center of the map. This fight is very easy. So easy I won't give you any advice, other than if you're having a hard time, you probably need to level up again and come back. Then Sarah takes you back to the castle. Talk to her after the scene and she gives you a loot. And the king finally does something other than sit on his ass and rebuilds the bridge to the north, which is where you want to go next. Before leaving, you'll probably have enough money to buy a Phoenix Down or two, if you're on the GBA. And if not, then get a whole bunch of sleeping bags for the saving. Oh, and when people die, you can find the church in any town to resurrect them if you need to. Next, you gotta cross the bridge to get off this godforsaken island and trigger the totally awesome opening sequence. Then, well, you don't actually have to do this next part, but consider it your first side quest. Head north, and then turn left to get around the lake, and keep heading north. Here you'll find Matoya, who's blind, so she won't notice when you take all her stuff. Cat burglary over. Head south to the point I told you to head north at, and then go east to the town of Provoca, a bustling port town that's currently overtaken by pirates. So talk to the piratist-looking pirate in Pirate Town to initiate a battle of pirates, which is super easy, barely a mass murder. And after you're done killing his entire crew, the pirate man decides it's time to retire and gives a sweet boat in return for not killing him. Wait, you are the good guys, right? If you're a party of 4 monks, buy all the items you need and leave. But otherwise, you'll probably want to grind in the forest around town to gain all the money you need to buy the best equipment. Also, 3 spells per mage again, this time level 2, and whatever items you need. Here's a quick and easy breakdown of the level 2 spells that can be bought in this town. Level 2 black magic spells. Blizzard. This is the best of the basic elemental spells, doing more damage than fire or lightning. Just get it. Temper. On the NES, this was bugged, so skip it. But in other versions, Temper is this game's version of Berserk, but doesn't force the character to attack each time, and you can only cast on your own characters. But it raises one character's strength by a fair amount, so it's pretty good. Dark. Inflicts darkness on all enemies. Very effective at making them miss and stuff. Slow. It makes monsters hit a less amount of times. Not as good as Dark, as that decreases accuracy, and monsters can still attack once each turn, even if they're slow. So skip this one for now, but that's just my opinion. Level 2 white magic. Blind now. Cures blind. Being inflicted with darkness kinda sucks. Null shock. There's no shell spell in this game, so null whatever element is the best you're gonna get. Can be good when fighting enemies that use thunder as a primary attack. Invisible. Like Blink, it raises one character's evasion, but not as good, but it can be targeted on other fighters instead of just the caster. Unlike the other spells, which are all situational, this one is a decent spell for any battle against tougher enemies, though probably not as good as Protect. Silence. Good against spellcasters, but there aren't enough enemies that fit that description. The silence can be better in later games if you played any of those. In the first game, it's basically useless. If you have a white mage, the choice here is really obvious, so grab the other 3 spells and forget about silence entirely.